just jumping right in. It's been about a month since I've filmed. A lot has been going on. Last weekend I was going to film and things just got kind of crazy, so here we are. I have a big stack of projects that I've worked on to share with you guys, more of my 40 starts. I have a little bit of haul and an add-in start that kind of just happened all of a sudden. I have a gift that I received. I don't always share all of the gifts that I get, but every now and then I get something, even just, this is just a little something, but it kind of made my day when it came, so I wanted to share that. It's miserable in Georgia, like absolutely miserable. It's so hot and humid. You go outside, and if you live somewhere where you don't have humidity that gets like 70, 80, 90%, like you don't really get it, just imagine like you go out and the air feels so full of moisture, it's almost like you have to swim through it. It's rough. And I went out in it yesterday against my better judgment. But I've been thinking for a while now, the couch downstairs that I used to film on before I kind of did my home office thing, it's just easier to film up here. And the couch downstairs is like my stitching spot. Like that's where I stitch, that's where the big TV is. That's where I kind of have my case creation stand set up. And I spent a lot of time on that couch. And it's starting to look and feel worn. Like the pilling on the fabric and the like there was a point in time where I could move the cushions around and fluff them up and they would look new again. I think we're past that. So, but I was thinking about it, and I think I've had that couch, yeah, for a really long time. Like maybe 15 years. That's a long time for a couch. So I started couch shopping. I hate going out into the real world. I hate dealing with people. I hate salespeople that work on commission. I hate being harassed by those people. And I just hate shopping, and I hate spending large amounts of money. So it was not a fun experience. I haven't bought a couch yet, but I think I've picked one out. And the one that I picked out is more than I wanted to spend. I could have spent more, or I could spend more. Like, because I went to this, if you're in Georgia, dude, like, this is the biggest furniture store I've ever been in. So I went in there and was just overwhelmed. But there was so much stuff that I liked. But of course, the stuff that I really liked, like I picked out, if I had not been looking at price tags and just went with what I liked the look of, I found this all genuine leather, big Chesterfield ranch couch for like $3,500. That's not happening. I wish that could happen. I wish I, all of a sudden inherited like millions of dollars or won the lottery and I could just buy whatever I wanted. But unfortunately, that's not the life this social worker lives. So I tried to find a nice mid-grade sofa. Nothing too cheap where it's going to wear out in a couple of years, but nothing that is going to break the bank too much. So I didn't buy it right then because I wanted to come home and talk to Jim about it and ask him if he thought it was too much. And anyway, why am I rambling about sofas for minutes? Let's get into cross stitch, and then I'll talk more about life stuff at the end. This is I'm trying to remember if you saw this the last time. And this is the first thing that I worked on since the last video. It is also, I think, what I was working on when I filmed the last time. Always fun to try to find where I just shove stuff. Like when I'm done and it's time to start my next 40 start, I just put stuff in here in no particular order. This is a PDF download from Hands Across the Sea Samplers, and this is Jane Hardy 1840. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I do remember showing this to you guys last time because I remember talking about one of my favorite things was the purple animals. So I'll show you how far I got on this. Not very far. But I mean, for a new start and approximately a week or less of work, it's not bad. I think this is on Lakeside Buttercream, which isn't a fabric that I would normally gravitate towards, but I feel like it works really well for these kind of funky, bright, and pastel-y colors. Digging it. And this is just DMC. Nothing wrong with good old DMC. You can get some beautiful, vibrant shades. Speaking of good old DMC, here are the colors for it. So pretty. I mean, would look really good in here once I'm finally done with this one. It's going to take me years of working through these starts to get them done. That's okay. I'm definitely a process stitcher, hence me being able to do this and it not cause me huge anxiety. But if you could see my shelves of whip bags over there, as I'm putting the new starts in there, I kind of think I've run out of room. I may have to kind of take over part of one of the shelves over here to finish putting these in here at the end of the year. Stack these down here. This is probably my favorite bag that I've ever gotten from Starry Owl Stitchery. She's on Etsy. She's also on Instagram and usually lets you know when she's about to post bags. And she does fantastic work. This has Dharma hair on it. They sell out quick, generally. So pretty. And perfect for this bag is Ann Roberts by Hands to Work. Beautiful, beautiful sampler. Hard to really tell what's going on in the photo. It's so small, but it is really lovely. These are the colors. You can tell that there's some beautiful kind of funky oranges and stuff that are going to show up. Clay pot. What is this other one? That's just Clockwork. That's a really pretty Weeks Dye Works color. The one that I'm working on at current, that's in the bottom of the stack, has Clockwork in it as well. And I am trying to remember what fabric I'm doing this on. This is a Silk Weaver 36 count in Sand Dune. Silk Weaver is not, sometimes they're not really consistent in their dyes. So I've seen Sand Dune look several different ways. Because it's one I've bought multiple times and it's looked different. This is where I'm at. It's one of those where the alphabet, like in person, I can see it just fine, but I can tell on the camera, it's the numbers across the top and stuff aren't showing up as well. But it really is pretty. It's a really pretty piece. And I cannot wait to get down to that house because it's just a patchwork of over-dyed threads. Beautiful. I'm multitasking. I can hear Ethel. Ethel is our little robot vacuum. I can hear her cleaning downstairs. Hopefully she won't start beeping because she gets stuck sometimes. We call her Ethel because she's like a little drunk old lady that just wanders around downstairs bumping into things and occasionally getting herself into things she can't get out of. So yeah, her name's Ethel. She seems to be doing okay today though. Do any of you guys name your robot vacuums? Is that a thing, or are we just weird? This is a vintage Owlette bag. I actually checked in with Susan this past week because I haven't seen her post any bags in a long time. I love her bags. And she was like, no, I just haven't felt like sewing. And she said her sewing room was really hot in the summertime, which I get. It gets really warm in here in the summertime. This is an upstairs room. And if you can see, I don't know if you can tell in the reflection, I have my ceiling fan going just a little bit. It gets warm up here. But this is my home office that I use, so I just crank the air down a little, get the ceiling fan going. I don't use bright heat-inducing lights like this when I'm up here working during the day. This one is one that I started with Heather for her birthday. The Perfectly Imperfect, or yes, Perfectly Imperfect Stitcher, or those words reversed. I've wanted to start this for a long time. It's a classic sampler. It says GGR's Isabella Fox 1827. And I mean, this is just the perfect bag for this. I try to match my bags up, but so pretty. And I am stitching this on you can tell if you were at one time a part of the Victorian Motto Fabric Club, which I believe is no more now, and if it was still happening, I would urge you not to join it. There was an issue at the end. This is 36 count Colonial Sampler from Victoria Motto. If you really love how this looks on here, I would say it reminds me a little bit, my guess when I first glanced at it would have been maybe like Picture This plus Sand. I love the kind of zigzag border that's going on across the top of this. Mainly because I love that teal color that's coming in. I am not changing anything in this. I think I'm going to just do a complete reproduction. We'll see when I get to the end if I put her name in or mine, but like I'm putting the verse and everything the same. So pretty. And just so you can have that to look at as well. I think Heather got further along than me. Maybe not, because I know she went back. She's trying to finish Black Sky right now. Go check out her Instagram. I saw a post from her this morning, and she's literally like this close to a finish. If she doesn't finish today, it'll be in the next day or two. It's pretty exciting. Here are the threads for this one. This is one I had actually made a thread keep for myself, where I printed a tiny picture. Beautiful threads. I have since, I think, decided, especially starting as many things as I am, that the thread, the little pretty, like decorative things, they're really pretty, and I wish I had tons of them. But when you buy them, they get expensive fast. And there's so many things I would rather be doing than making those. So I've just been buying the bronze colored book rings and putting my focus on just putting them on just a pretty ring. And in fact, this next one is on one of the rings I'll show you. This was a gifted bag, Little Patches of Heaven, and this was a birthday gift from a viewer, and she stitched this on here, and it's so great. Love it. I started this with Sim Swank, and this is Stacy Nash Primitive's Old Black Farmhouse sampler. When I bought it, you bought this as a kit, and by kit I mean it came with the threads, not the fabric. So these are the called for threads. This is the book ring I was talking about. Buy 50 of those at a time on Amazon. Just a bronze 2-inch ring. This is a piece of fabric that I had over dyed myself. So it's kind of a mossy grayish green. It's hard to describe. But that's how far I got on that. It's gonna be really pretty. I wanted to use a little bit of a darker fabric because I really wanted that house to pop off. So pretty. All of a sudden realizing as I'm sitting here, it's lunchtime. My stomach just reminded me to find me something in a little bit. I defrosted some chicken last night, and I think we're gonna grill out tonight. I put the chicken breasts in some marinade this morning. They're pretty tasty. I think I have some vegetables where I won't have to go to the store. I think there's maybe some zucchini and asparagus left over down there that hopefully are still okay. I'll get those roasted up. We were doing HelloFresh, well, we still do HelloFresh. I started that a year ago now and still love it. Although there's some things that we make that I miss at this point. So I have lowered how many meals we get a week as of the past couple of weeks, so that we still get that super easy things coming to us. But then, like, I've really been craving a few things that I make myself. Like yesterday, I couldn't stop thinking about shepherd's pie. No, that's not really healthy because yes, it's full of vegetables, but it's also full of just like a gravy and beef and potatoes. But yeah, shepherd's pie sounds amazing. There used to be this Irish pub down in Douglasville, Georgia that I used to meet my cousin at all the time, and would meet there and would hang out and catch up on family stuff and life and have a beer and shepherd's pie, and it closed. I don't think it made it through COVID, which really makes me sad. Okay, next. I just pulled this right out of this bag without showing you the bag. This is another vintage Owl Lady. This is one of my favorites of hers. You can see the moths with the little skulls. I know I've shown this one before. I think I had another project in it, and I finished that project and put this in here. Started this one with Ellen Reed. Elpu is here. This is Lila's or Lila's, I'm not sure, Studio MT1828. This is the bottom part of the Mary Taylor sampler that she did, which is really the part that I really love. So I'm so glad when designers give you the option of just kind of doing part of a sampler and they chart it for you, so you don't have to worry about doing it yourself and figuring out the border changes and stuff like I'm doing with Christy Barron, which is next. I'll show you that. Spoiler alert. This one has the most beautiful threads, and it's a combination of threads that I would not have thought of And I think it's these two colors that really make me love it so much, because it has this wood rose and nutmeggy by Classic Colorworks, and it just really gives it this slight funkiness to it. Really pretty. I have no idea what this fabric is. It was in my stash, not labeled. When I bought it, I obviously, like, the tag fell off, or I have no idea. If anybody knows who sells linen, that, because the one that I cut off, because this is just part of it, has a purple plastic hang tag. If any of you know who uses the purple plastic hang tags, then maybe I can remember where this came from. Just looking at it, my guess is this is Seraphim, maybe like old stationery, but that's just a guess. It's kind of like a khaki with a gray hue to it. But this is where I got on MT 1828. Really pretty colors. This is what I worked on all last week. That border just turned out beautiful. So when I pick it up again, I may even go ahead and move over to the other side and complete that border. This is a really, really workable size if you want to jump into a sampler and don't want to do anything huge. It's a good deal of stitching, but it's not bad. And it's beautiful. Everything's falling. Everything's chaos. Let's see. I totally skipped Dark 13 stitching this month. Somewhat unintentionally. The day before, I was like, Dark 13 tomorrow. The morning of, I was like, yay, it's Dark 13. I got home from work and sat down on the couch and just kept on stitching. I think I was doing old white farmhouse. I was at the time, because I remember posting, it was Dark 13, and I totally forgot. So we're just calling this a creepy white goat, like White Phillip, and we're just gonna keep going with it. It's my event and I forgot. Oh well. This is what I'm working on right now. I worked on it yesterday and that's it. Once I'm done filming this and get it started uploading, I actually think I have to go to Jim, go with Jim to the landfill. Talk about that in a second. And then I'm gonna sit down and stitch for a while. So this is Christy Barron. This is an Erica Michaels sampler. I have never stitched one of her pieces before. I do not believe this. I think this is my first one. I'm stitching this on a piece of Fiber on a Whim brown sugar that I got from Hollis Hands Create. I know that Christine, I think she's still on Etsy, but I think she's doing a transition over to her own website. If you've never bought from her, she has amazing customer service. Love buying stuff from her. She's quick to get stuff out the door, and she generally has a pretty good selection of like unique linens, I think. Let's see. Just playing with threads. So these are the threads for Christy Barron. I am stitching from here down. And if you're interested in doing the same thing, it's incredibly easy because you can just chop out this whole section and the border matches up without you having to even think about it. So the flower that's next to this border is the exact same as the flower that starts next to the words. So you literally just have to stitch this top and then switch to the next page. That's all you gotta do. Super easy. I don't know if she did that, made sure it worked out that way on purpose. It's a reproduction, so I'm assuming not, but it just works out that way. There is one stitch in between these flowers and the border, but that's fine because in a few places down here on the bottom, there's one stitch in between the motifs and the border. So it's gonna look like it's supposed to be that way. There's a lot of like reds and greens in this, which is one reason why I chose this fabric. Like I said, this is Brown Sugar by Fiber on a Whim. I don't know if all of the brown sugar is like this, but mine has a lot of green modeling. So I thought it was a really natural choice for this. In fact, you can see it where there's a big green spot here, and there's more down here where I have it rolled up in my Q-snap. This closer where you can see how it's going so far. That red, that bright red, is Louisiana hot sauce, and it is just vivid. It's really pretty. I have this in another Starry Owl stitchery bag. You guys know I spent a lot of last year and the end of the year before just kind of kitting up and getting ready for 40 starts. So the bag makers and I became good friends during that time period as well. Okay, let's show the little gift that I got. This was just a thanks for Duck Derby from a stitcher, and it was just really sweet. Like, just thank you so much for putting so much work and effort into that and making it fun for everybody and helping the kids. And you know, I don't do it for thanks. I don't do it for recognition. I do it because it raises a lot of money for a good cause. But you know, everyone likes to feel appreciated. Let's look at what about. I have some linen coming, which will be in my next video, that I'm pretty excited to show. This, if you should have already received, because I've had this for a while now, your Threads of History from Country Sampler. But this is the Blackbird Designs that everybody was excited about. It's just a really simple motif sampler. Lydia Rosetta Cohagen, I'm not sure which one. I get the 36 count. You can see, as normal, beautifully kitted up by Country Sampler. Really beautiful. Not sure where to put anything. I drove down to my local Michael's the other day to get some DMC for something, and they had half of what I needed. I did not want to go back again and chance them again, only having part of what I needed. So I just made a 1, 2, 3 stitch order and got the DMC that I needed. With gas as much as it is, it was probably equivalent paying the shipping, so I just didn't worry about it. Just ordered it, had it show up at my house. But you know, we always, to make it worth it, when you just are buying threads or something like that, what else can I put in my cart to make it worth it? So I have a hair in my mascara. So to make it worth it, I grabbed Scattered Seed Samplers Remember Me Pinky. It's really pretty, and it's just DMC as well. So I went ahead and grabbed the DMC for it and just stuck it in here. So one day I'll start that. Better. We did the Duck Derby Hangout, with the winners and just had a grand old time. And I was enabled by them and by another stitcher on Instagram, because a sow for it was starting up at the same time. So I got and kitted up in another vintage Owlette bag. This piece. I'm not going to start it yet because I'm going to change the verse, of course. Because while I don't think that this is like a direct Bible quote or Bible verse, it feels kind of religious to me. And so I'm going to change it. Whew, all of the threads falling. There's a lot of DMC in this. This is what I was getting DMC for. You'd think I've been doing this for enough years, since like 2005, not since 2005, that's wrong, 2015, that I would be like, I would have everything like all laid out and ready and organized. No. So I've still got to put, this one I already had, but I've got to put it all on cards like this. These are the over-dyed threads that are called for this. But I am planning on starting Live on Little by Plum Street Samplers. I love her designs. Like, there's just something about them that speaks to me. And this one feels very Cape Cod. And Cape Cod is, it was a big part of Jim's childhood growing up, because he grew up when he was really little in the Massachusetts and New Jersey area. Both states at different times in his childhood, so, and other various states. But his family used to go to Cape Cod during the summer, so, and we've been out there. We went to Sandwich years ago with his parents, and we've been out another time visiting some of his family. So it's kind of become a part of my life as well. But I don't love the saying, so I scoured the internet trying to find a poem or song lyrics that kind of have a sea or ocean feel, and I landed on Van Morrison's Into the Mystic. I love that song, and it's one of my favorites. I could put it on repeat and listen to it for an hour solid. It's such a beautiful song. So I am going to rechart one of the verses of Into the Mystic on here. It may mean I have to take out the flag, which is fine by me, because I haven't felt extremely patriotic recently. It may also mean that the church has to go, which is fine by me, because I would have already have taken off the steeple. But it's going to be a lot of words, but what's important to me is this big house and the ocean and the sailboat and this bottom part. So as long as that's still there in the border, I'm happy. But I'm going to chart part of Into the Mystic on this. And I couldn't be more excited. If I can get that done, I have an open spot where I was going to work on an old whip in September? No, not September. August? Ooh, I better get on it, because that's next month. So I have that. If I can get it recharted, or at least started, I mean, heck, I could start the border and work my way down and start on somewhere else if I don't get it done. I'm just thinking out loud as we're filming. But yeah, you know how, like, there's always that, or maybe you don't know. I grew up, and especially when you're really little, you would get the fake birthday spanking, and it would be like, and one to grow on. This might be my and one to grow on. 40 and one to grow on. So, you know, just trying to to make it okay for me to have one extra start, as if 40 wasn't enough. I have a piece of Silk Weaver Sand Dune, and you can tell this one looks totally different than the Silk Weaver Sand Dune I showed you earlier. This one is much more gold, much more like Lakeside Linen's actual sand dune. And I think that this will be really pretty on this. You guys let me know what you think, because I do have some linens coming from Seraphim. And I'll go ahead and tell you what I have coming. I have a piece of Tobias, because someone showed me a piece of that, and it may be one of the most beautiful fabrics I've ever seen. So I have a piece of Tobias coming, I have a piece of Cecil coming, and I have a piece of Boston coming. Now Boston would be cool because that kind of is similar, but I think it's going to be way too light. I want something darker for this. Excited. But yeah, right now this is the plan with Into the Mystic. And this is getting all kinds of unfolded. It will fit on a fat quarter. It looks bigger than that, but it will fit on a fat quarter. At least 40 or 36. I don't know if you stitch it on like a 32 or something like that, if it will. I didn't do that calculation. But yes, I need to get those DMC on cards and get that recharted. Maybe during a virtual hearing one day I can get that DMC done. What else to talk about? Let's see. Well, there's always my shirt. I won't go deeply into that, but you know, still feeling pretty opinionated about it. And I won't go any further into it except to say vote. Like, if you are a U.S. citizen and you can vote in the U.S., please do. And most people, the next big election is going to be the November 8th election. So just make sure you're registered. It's really easy to see if you're registered, see where your polling place is. There's a website that you can use that I'm familiar with called Vote 411. You can go there. And if you're like me and you also like the idea of going and doing something like that where you're not exactly sure what the setup's going to be like and you're going to feel pressured and parking and getting in causes you anxiety, you can go ahead and apply for an absentee ballot. That is crooked. You can go ahead and apply for an absentee ballot and get that sent to you and vote in the comfort of your own home. So that's really easy to do too. Just go online and the same website can show you how to do that. And I actually have my absentee ballot application right here. And I can just, it fills it out for you. You can fill it out online and sign it and mail it off to your local election office and they'll get that to you. It's super easy. And that way I don't have any stress or anxiety about it. Because I know other stitchers are oftentimes similar to me and have that same issue. Let's see, we're starting back up family breakfasts, which is me and my sister and my brother and my mom meeting for breakfast. Like, we try to meet up once a month and meet on a Saturday morning and have breakfast together. We're gonna do it next Saturday as our first one, starting back up. My sister unfortunately is going to be out of town for it, so she'll miss the first one. She is down in Orange Beach, Florida right now on their first family vacation in years, scoping out the area because that is where my middle niece is going to get married in October. So I will be down in Orange Beach, Alabama in October for a weekend to see her get married and I'm kind of excited about it. She found her a good one. And she just wants, especially with everything their family has been through, like she wants to have an event. She wants to, you know, actually not just elope at a courthouse like Jim and I did. She wants to have like a little wedding, but not with hundreds of people who are going to come up to her and say, oh, it's too bad your dad couldn't be here. I would hate that. I don't blame her. So we're doing that in October. Jim and I are thinking about taking that whole week off and dropping Mom back off here or at her house, maybe spending the night here at our house, and then going and doing something for a vacation for us for a few days. Thinking about renting like a cabin or something like that in the mountains and just relaxing. It will be our 9-year anniversary in October, so we usually take a vacation around that time, kind of celebrate. I got some pests on some of my plants. That's been stressful. I really need to keep up with like cleaning the leaves more frequently or watering them when it starts to be warmer like this with a mosquito bit tea, and that helps with any larvae or fungus gnats that might be in the soil. What I've experienced in the past month is lacewings on one plant and thrips on several plants. It really, when I first started keeping plants, freaked me out to find any kind of pest because nobody wants bugs in their house. It's gross. It's disgusting. Ew. But I guess I've just wrapped my head around more now that I've brought nature into my house with all of these plants, and they're going to have their own little ecosystem that is going to try to happen. So bugs are just part of it sometimes. I'm still struggling a little. But I've been using several different things, neem oil and insecticidal soap, and then I bought this one that everybody swears by called like Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew, and I've been spraying with it, and I mean, it seems to be getting better. One of my Hoyas got thrips, but not my prized possession Hoya, which I'll try to go and do a little filming in my plant room and put it at the end of this video so you can see my prized possession Hoya, who has 3 blooms on her right now. And she's just, I just go out and stare at her because she's so pretty. And I love that from my stitching spot on the couch, we have a French door that looks out into the sunroom. And it just so happens that where she has hung and flourished, I can see from my stitching spot. And it just brings me so much joy. Several other plants that I'll show you too that I'll go into detail then. Television. It's a big part of my life. We're going to talk about it. So, let's see. I have jumped on the Virgin River bandwagon. I watched season 1 after it came out years ago because a friend of mine recommended it to me, and I really liked it, and I don't know why I didn't keep up with it. So I know season 4 was just released, so I've been trying to catch up. I just now started season 3 yesterday. It's pretty good. It's just a fluff show. It's like a romance with some drama, and like you can just kind of turn your brain off and watch it and enjoy this fluffy romance show. I'm enjoying it. The other turn your brain off show that we've really been enjoying, we had started watching the American version of Ghosts, which was really good. But then there's like 1 season out, and then you're just like, well, what now? So it turns out the British version, which has multiple seasons, is on HBO Max. So I found it on there, and we've started watching it, and it's just like a little sitcom, but I love it so much. There's like only one character that really drives me bonkers, but like I thought right away when you're watching it, like there's this one ghost that's a caveman, and I thought I would hate him. He is one of the most brilliantly written characters. Like, with his limited English, he is so intelligent. We've really enjoyed it. If you want a warm and fuzzy show, watch, it's on Netflix, Love on the Spectrum. There are a couple of seasons that are older. I think that they are in Australia. I think that it's Australia. It's been years since we watched that one. But in 2022, they came out with the US Love on the Spectrum. It's only about 6 episodes, but it's so sweet. It's just a heartwarming show of people who are on the spectrum and different levels of the spectrum, just wanting what everybody wants. And that's just like a true connection with another individual and finding love. And it's so genuine. It's worth a watch. Feels like there were other things that I wanted to tell you guys. Feels like there was so much. I am well into my new position at work. I did my first big like grant report and didn't screw it up. So, you know, yay. I will do another one next week because it's a monthly thing. And so, yeah, let's cross our fingers Emily doesn't screw that up. So it's a lot more responsibility, but I'm finding that I don't hate it. I actually kind of like being in control of some things. So there's that. Rather than continuing to ramble, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm sure there was something I wanted to say that I didn't, but I'll put some plant talk on the end, and I will see you guys next month. Happy stitching, and let me know if there are some starts that I'm doing next month that you would maybe like to join in on. Next month I am starting A Mind Independent and Free by Carriage House Samplings. I am starting Ida Nolt, I believe, is next month. The Live on Little, and another one that I can't remember. Oh, it is, I can see it, A Fine House Indeed. It's like solid stitching, but it is amazing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google and look up A Fine House Indeed. Yeah, you won't be sorry. I think I changed like one color in that, but that's it. Kind of zhuzhed up and brightened the blue-green. Let's go look at plants. I'll see you guys after that. So I made it out here to my plant room, my sunroom. And my good buddy Buster's out here that I know you guys always like to see. What you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Yeah. Love some pets. He loves it out here. I think he likes it to be a little bit warmer than we keep it in the house. So while the HVAC is run out here to this room, it just, with all these windows, it stays warmer. So, so that has grown tremendously. This is my Euphorbia Trigona Rubra, I think is the name of it. I'm looking at it and not you guys. It used to be about a third of that size. Let's get up close where you can see. It's so pretty. I love it so much. And it's still growing and happy, so I'm not repotting it just yet. I watered it yesterday. My old man cactus, my thumb cactus, both of which have gotten bigger. Some not too exciting plants in these windows. Oh, except for my my teddy bear paw, my bear paw succulent. It's a good one. This is my Hoya Chelsea. This isn't my Hoya that is super, super happy. We'll get to that now. That is my super happy Hoya. This guy. Let's look at these blooms. Look at that. How beautiful. And then it's got a bloom, 2 blooms up there. And it's getting ready. Oh my gosh, it's getting ready to have another bloom right there. And then this is trying to rebloom. I'm telling you, this is my current pride and joy. I cannot believe that is reblooming. That had a bloom on it earlier this year. Look at that. Look at the red on that leaf. That's why they call these Pink Princess. And then this is my lipstick plant, which has never bloomed, but it just continues to grow and grow and grow. I gave it a really good watering yesterday, so it's perking up. It was a little dry. And then my Hoya Criticii. That is my Schefflera. Don't worry, the cats don't get up here. They can't get to that. Well, they could, but they don't. Got some cacti in there. And this Hoya Lachinosa got like white flies, that's what it got. I think I said lacewings before. That's actually a beneficial one. But it got white flies and they were all over it and it was creeping me out. But it seems to be better now. I've treated it for a couple of weeks now. I think those, I see one every now and then, but I think they're dead. And I feel secure enough where I've moved it back over here. And I feel bad because I'm pretty sure this is a peduncle that was trying to put out on this, and then it got these bugs, and we'll see if it does anything. This is supposed to be a really easy Hoya bloomer. We'll see if it does. I have my palm. And then I'm keeping this alive, and that's really all that I'm doing. This is my one of the plants that I still have from my dad's funeral, and it's alive. That's really all I can say. The palm from my brother-in-law's funeral. Actually, both of these palms are from his funeral. My peperomia beetle that I saved a year or 2 ago from Home Depot, and it's pretty happy. This guy that I try not to touch. My rabbit's foot fern. Let's get over here. Oh. Pull off. Dead. I love this rabbit's foot fern. I've had this one for a long time too. And I know I've showed you guys before, but I mean, just look at that. Look how cool that is. Just growing all over. I've been wondering if maybe it's time to replant because it's been drying out faster. But I don't know. Maybe I need to repot it. But just the thought of repotting and trying to get all of those tarantula legs in something else just does not bring me joy. But that brings me joy. Look at that. have my Hoya Australis growing across the ceiling. It's not doing anything other than just growing. There's no peduncles or anything happening, I don't believe. I'm looking while we're talking and I just see more leaves putting out. This is a second Hoya Lachinosa that I have, just because I love it so much. I honestly thought I was buying a different plant, and I wasn't, truth be told. So this is a little bit smaller one, but I love them both. My Hoya Crinkle 8. This one is doing really well. It's got a lot of new growth happening. Probably could use not being shoved underneath that shelf. My String of Hearts got moved out here from the kitchen window because it grows all the way down there. Oh, and it's blooming at the end. Well, hold on. We're going to focus in on this. Yeah. String of Hearts bloom. I think they're really pretty. Some people don't like these, but I think that the blooms are pretty. This is my Hoya Pubic Calyx. It's got some funky leaves on it, but it's growing. My Not So Happy Trubia Moonlight. I have one that's doing great, but this one has just never done well. And it looks thirsty, but I just watered it yesterday. I'm pretty sure this got thrips and that's why it looks like that. But I've treated it and I'll treat it again. So that's unfortunate. This definitely got thrips. That's thrip damage. That is 100% thrip damage. And I treated it really well. Hopefully I'll only need to treat it another time or two and that will go away. So this is my Hoya Queen, and I really don't want to lose her because I really like her. She doesn't grow too much. She doesn't grow like my princess. And I mean, look at that white leaf. So I think she'll be fine. I think I caught it pretty early. It's just on this here. I may need to just chop this off, but I hate to. She has so few leaves. I don't want to chop any of her off. If you have Hoyas and you want for them to bloom more, I don't know if this has anything to do with how much my one is blooming, but spraying them with this, I've heard that that is really beneficial, and I try to do that, especially in the blooming season. I try to mist them somewhat frequently. But that's it. That's all I'll show you guys today. Oh, there is a man walking around in the backyard. That would be my husband. Yeah, he's not gonna like that I'm filming him. So we had a big storm come through, and you can see a lot of these branches and stuff that are down. I know he said he was going to try to get out there and cut those down, so he's probably back from the gym trying to figure out how he's going to get up high and cut those branches. That'll be fun, won't it, Buster? Say goodbye. Say goodbye to everybody. See you guys next time, probably about a month. Let me know if you want to start any of those things with me, and we'll do that. We'll do a little start along. Bye, guys. Happy stitching.